Our first challenge today will be checking the password strength. If you want to follow along, you might need to save this code as we are going to work on it even further in the next lesson. Here is how we are going to check the strength of our passwords. A strong password must have at least one special character, one number, one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter, and must be at least 8 characters long. A medium password must have either an uppercase or lowercase letter, a number, and must be at least 6 characters long, as you can see in the examples. I'll declare an array of characters that will store our special characters. I'll just paste them since they take long to type. I had my wife type it down for me while I had coffee. Let's continue. I'll declare the variables that must be true in order for the password strength to be determined and set them all to false. Now we'll go through our password to detect if these variables are present. I'll declare a simple for loop. Inside, I'll check if the character at I is equal to the same character, but uppersized. Then set is uppercase to true. Same goes with lowercase. I'll just copy this down, then change as uppercase to lowercase and the method. Now we'll check if our special characters are included. Let's go to the JS documentation. I want to show you guys something. Head over to this site. The link will be in the description below. Go to JS arrays, then array search. You'll see this method called includes. Click on it. Here you can see how it works. It allows us to check if an element is present in an array. This will be very handy in our code. Let's go back to Visual Studio Code. Let me bring back the dev tools. Here I'll check if the current character in our password included in the special characters array. Then set the is special character to true if found. Now we have to check for a number in our array. Head over to the site. On the search bar, type man. click the first link, you can see there is a JS method that we can use to detect if the parameter passed is a number or not. It returns false if it is a number. It might look confusing, but just know the method is called is not a number. That will wipe the confusion away. Now let's continue. Here we're going to check if the character is a number, then set isDigit to true if it is. Now we're going to classify the strength of what was filtered above. I'm going to start with a strong password. The length must be greater or equal to 8, must include digit, lowercase, uppercase, and a special character. Now we'll check for medium. This one I'm leaving for you guys as a challenge to use only one else if statement to check for both medium password that has uppercase or lowercase. You know what? I'll just copy this down. Change his uppercase to his lowercase. Our function will return weak. Now, let's test this. I'll console log it. Let's start with a weak password. It works fine. Medium still works. How about a strong password like this one? It returns strong. That's okay. It may look like our function works perfectly, but it is not. I'll show you why. If I pass 10 numbers here, no letters, no uppercases, it still returns medium. What might be causing this? Let me declare a variable here called a and set it to a number 9. I'll check if 9 is uppercase. As you can see, JS shows 9 as an uppercase. That's why our password of numbers returned medium instead of weak. Special characters as well bring the same problem. To solve this, inside our if statements, we'll only set is uppercase to true only if the parameter is not a number or a special character. Same goes with the lowercase detection. Now you can see our function runs fine. I want us to look at something here, this JS function called isNaN. Let's say we didn't have it and somehow we needed to check for numbers. How would we do that? I'll start by defining a function called isANum. It will take a number parameter. Make sure you don't give it the same name as the JS one. I'll declare an array of numbers which will use the includes array method to check if our value is a number. I'll also declare an array of whatever was passed and convert it into a string, then split it, just in case a user passes a non-string value. I'll use a for loop to automate the whole process of checking if the numbers are included. If one character is included and it is not in our array, we'll return false. Our function will return isNum. Now let's test it. As you can see, it works as expected. I'll give it a string. It works with a string as well. How about if I insert a at the end? It returned false. But what about negative numbers? You can see our function needs some refinement. It looks like my wife forgot to include a minus in the array. Now it works, but what if the minus was somewhere in between the numbers? In that case, I'll modify my if statement. I'll set is such that the character that includes a minus cannot be in an index greater than 0. You can use any logic here. I'm using this one for readability. Now it returns false as expected. But what about decimals? You can see our function will not work well if a user inserted a decimal number. I'll insert a dot in our array. It works, but not quite. If a user inserts 2 dots in our number or at the end, it will not go to well. To solve this, you could cram another AND on the if statement, but I'll do it differently so that my code is easier to read. I'll declare a function called checkDecimal. In here, I'll increment the variable DEC to check how many decimal points were inserted. This method is not ideal, as some users might enter too many decimals to clog the buffer on purpose. So I'm leaving to you as a challenge, and it's quite simple. I'll call my function in the if statement and pass the value at the index I. I'll also edit my if statement as such so the DEC does not go beyond 1. Now, our function works fine. But some hard-headed user, like my wife, might put a decimal at the end like this. To solve this issue, I'll use an if statement to check if the index of the dot is at the end of the array, then return false. Now our function works as expected. You might be tempted to use this as a num function back to our previous check password function. Don't do it. This is just a demonstration of what you could do with code without relying on AI. The way we programmed our function is not how the JavaScript man method was programmed. It will clog your 1 megahertz RAM. In the next lesson, I'll show you why exactly that happens. We'll also refine our check password method so that it doesn't take consecutive numbers. That's all I have for this video. You can leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you are a fellow bro who prefer brain over AI.